With over 8 billion people in the world, what are the odds that you magically bump into that person meant for you? What if you're so mean that? Hey girl, welcome to Dear Single Christian Girl podcast with your girl KB. This is your safe space where faith meets real conversations. Whether you're in your healing, whether you're in your hurting, whether you're thriving or just trying to figure it out. This is where we grow, glow, and become better versions of ourselves one episode at a time. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about something, the myth of the one. Yes. We're going to be touching some places today that has really caused confusion to loads of Christian singles out there. So what's the myth of the one? The myth of the one is that idea that we all have one perfect person that God created for us to be a life partner. And if we miss this person, game over. And it's typically like what some people will refer to as a soulmate. And many people believe that when they meet the one for them, everything is just clicking, everything is just perfect, no troubles, no confusions, no doubts, and they'll finally feel whole and complete. But what if I tell you that that's not how God works? I believe that this idea or this myth of the one actually causes more confusion, heartaches, heartbreak, disappointments than it causes good. But before we get into all of it, let me share with you a story. So there was this lady, we're going to call her Deborah. Okay, so Deborah is a fervent Christian and a member of a Pentecostal church. You know, this Deborah is one of the sisters that will say is diligent and serves in church really well. Is close to her pastor, is always serving in church and like really believes in the power of God and the grace of God on the life of her pastor. So typically he has a lot of influence in her life, her decision making and stuff. So and now one day the pastor calls Deborah and tells Deborah that brother, okay, let's call him Zechariah, brother Zechariah of the prayer band is God's ordained husband for you. God has shown me that that's your husband. And if you do not marry him, if you do not marry brother Zechariah, you're going to marry wrong. And any other person you marry, things will not work out well because Zechariah is your husband, the one for you. Sister Deborah trusts her pastor. She literally like reveres her pastor, so she takes literally everything that he says for it, and then she goes with it. And then they have to of course court for a little bit of time. After he said that, he introduced the both of them. The court, I think, for like 3 to 6 months. And within this courtship, she saw a lot of red flags. Like there are several times that he like hit her, and many other things that were clear red flags that she could have left. But now she held on to that fact that my pastor said he's the one for me. He's my one. And if I do not marry him, I'll marry wrong. Or I may never end up married. Or whoever I marry, things will not work out well. So she goes up with a marriage and marries Brother Zechariah. And while they're home, like things only get from bad to worse. You know, as I'm married and it does it from frying pan to fire. That Deborah got to a point where she started hating God. She's like, how will God pick someone like this for me? How will God choose someone who beats me and I cannot speak out because people will say, oh, this man that prays in tongues and fires like that. So she felt disappointed in God that after all my service in church, after all my services to you, this is my one. This is the one for me like this, and I'm stuck with him. So you see that this idea made her stuck with him. But before we like really get into talking about this myth of the one, I want to just put this out there. Like, girls, please hear me out and hear me well. If you must hold your ear, hold on more. Let no man of God choose a husband for you. Even if you're male watching this, let no man of God choose a wife for you. The reason God is our Father is because He's able to speak to every one of us. Some papa they when they talk for any of the other picking them. Some papa they will go just choose it. Oh, I would only determine for them picking. I don't fit talk for the other one. No. God is our Father. God is your Father. He speaks to every one of us. You can hear him. The thing is, most of us have not just learned to listen to our Father, how he speaks. He has different ways of speaking to each and every one of us. And you have to like groom, learn your Father, learn his way of speaking to you, and learn it from like the small things. Start listening to God from the small things, so that when it comes to like marital decisions, you will not be depending on another person. If your pastor tells you, Sister Kelly, God said, Brother Ken is your husband, Kelly, ask him. Okay, thank you, Pastor, and all of that. But I'm going to pray and let God say it to me too. Or even if it's not to you, right? Ask God to say to another person. They say in the mouth of many people, something is established, right? Ask God to show it to another person, and trust me, he will. God no, they do church or church. God is not a man that does church or church that will say to this one, and he cannot say to this one. He can speak to you. All right, so let's put it out there. I beg. No, you say a pastor talk, say this is your husband and run with it. Have your own convictions, because there are days that in the marriage, your convictions will be tested. So you should be able to stand and know that, oh, regardless of how it's going, I heard God for myself. All right, so that you don't get to a point where at some point you start blaming somebody that, God, is this not the husband that you gave to me, or is it not the pastor that chose him for me? No, you'd have to make that choice yourself, all right? So now that we have that out of the way, let's continue talking about the myth of the one. Why is this thing problematic? That I'm just going to give you some reasons why I feel like this idea or this myth that you have just one person for you is problematic. The first is that that's not how God works, and it's not biblical. There's no way I've seen in the Bible where God has said this is exact person. I've not seen that. I think I like when Pastor Mildred Okonkwo, she was doing a teaching and she said that she believes strongly, and I believe that too, that if God had brought Eve to Adam and presented, okay, this is the woman I've created, and then Adam was like, I don't really like this one. Her skin tone is not what I like. I don't like dark skin women. I like light. God would have made another one. Oh, her eyes. I don't really like her. God would have made another one for him. But Adam saw the woman and then said, this is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my. Adam accepted her. Adam had that choice. Adam had that choice. So if you want to use the story of Adam to say, oh God, Adam still chose. All right. And also, let me use this example. When Abraham was sending his servants to go and find a wife for his son Isaac, he didn't tell the servant that, oh, her name is Rebecca. God said her name is Rebecca. She's going to be tall. She's going to be light skinned. She's going to be like this from this particular place and stuff. Nope. He actually just gave a guideline, like, go and find me a wife for my son from this place, from this household, from these relatives. So he gave a guideline, not a particular person. It was now the servants that took it upon himself that to pray a prayer and like give God some things that, okay, if this is a woman that is fit for my master's son, let this be the signs, let this be the signs. And there are times when we pray prayers like that all the time. He can say that, like he said, oh, let her be willing to feed my cattle and stuff, give them water. And when Rebecca came, she did that. There are actually people that from their conversations with God, from their prayers with God, they have had God and said, the day that I'm going to meet my husband, or the day that I'm going to meet my wife, let this be a sign. And God gives them that sign for somebody that he thinks is best for them. And even if they see it and they don't want that person, God will still give another person for them. So we have our own guideline, and that guideline is that for the household of faith, we are not to be unequally yoked, right? But we can pick from the household of faith as long as they're a Christian believer. You can marry anyone. The truth is that some people are more suitable to marry another person, maybe due to their personal preferences, their values, their purpose. Yes, most especially purpose. But like, as long as they're in the household of faith, there are many potential partners for you. I know the dogs say as long as they are Christian, may you don't marry anybody, or may man just can't say, oh, because I'm a Christian, you must marry me. No, you still have a choice based on your values, your purpose, and stuff. Not be all Christian way if you marry, and that's a story of another day. But yeah, point one is that that's not biblical. Another reason why this mindset is problematic, the world is large. I promise you, the world is large. With over 8 billion people in the world, what are the odds that you magically bump into that person meant for you? What are the odds? What if you're one day Iran? What if your one is in Iran and you did Cameroon or maybe you did Nigeria or Ghana and you didn't even get passport? You have never even seen the airport in your country. What if your one is in China? You go do her see my sister. What if your one was miscarried? What if your soulmate died? Baby, my soulmate died. What if your soulmate died? So you're gonna remain single for the rest of your life because of that? That thought is not, or that is truly a need. It's like a crazy thought, actually. The truth is that most people today who are married, right, if they're waiting for that perfect person for them, or they're one, most people who are married today will still be in the waiting room. Most of them will still be unmarried, waiting for that person. And, that will not be a good thing. Another thing is that there's this mindset that you have just one person meant for you. It will leave you in a terrible mess when a relationship ends. Let's say, for example, you had your convictions about somebody and you believed that they were that one for you, that your husband will die, like either them or nothing. And for some reason, the relationship ends. It will leave you in a terrible mess because you're not like, okay, if this was my one, this was my soulmate, this was the one for me, am I going to be single forever? Means am I never going to be able to find another person? Will I be like that? It leaves you in a terrible place or terrible position that you really do not know what to think or believe. And on the flip side, the thought too that you have just one person for you can make some people to become complacent. Like they'll not say, oh, I'll just act the way I act. Any bad behavior that I put up, anything that I want to do, I'll do. And if they are the one for me, they'll stay. They'll just be acting up in a relationship instead of like taking commitment, being committed, communicating right, treating their partner with respect. They'll just treat relationships anyhow, saying, if they're the one for me, they'll say. That's their mindset, and they just roll with anyhow. That's not good because truly you chase away people that would have been the right fit for you because you feel like if they're gonna take any rubbish that you put up and like still stay. So that mindset is actually not good. And last I mentioned, somebody can be the one today. God can say that to you that okay, be with this person today, and tomorrow God says not to be with that person. You remember the story of Saul, right? So when the Israelites wanted a king, God brought Saul. God asked to anoint Saul. But at some point he rejected Saul and asked to anoint David. So God will change people depending on how he's seeing their progression, their character, and his purpose will remain the same. So if there was just only one that's supposed to be king, there was only one that's supposed to occupy that throne. You will still be so, you remain with Saul, no matter what. God doesn't want him again because of whatever he's now doing. He'll still be that, oh, not only that, brother David, wake up, he tells he must marry me. Regardless of if brother David has run off the wayside, has backslided, he's now living the life that God does not think is a good fit for you anymore. He's saying that one year, and it's not actually that cool. Another thing is that I'm going to say is that this mindset is not good because love requires a choice. I love when Pastor Major Okonkwo, I love to listen to her, by the way. She says that submission begins with choice. So for you to be able to really submit to a man, you have to be able to make that choice. Nobody should be able to impose them on you like, oh, this is it. Even God does not impose a man on you. He can like guide you, like tell you if you pray and ask his opinion. Of course, you're gonna tell you, okay, I don't think this one is good for you. I think this one is good for you. But still, the final choice is on you. So that if you choose a yam head and then you're finding it hard to submit to more, now you choose them. If you choose person who no get sense and then you're finding it hard to submit to, now you choose them. Like she says, submission begins with choice. And love requires choice and commitment. You choose your person based on your values, based on your goals, based on your purpose, and then commit to them to grow with them. Also, this need of the one creates unrealistic expectations because people believe that once they meet that one, like all problems go away, they will not face issues, they will not fight in the relationship anymore, everything become perfect. Like they have this fantasy in their head that, oh, because I'm facing hurdles in this relationship means he's not the one. They feel like, and it creates unrealistic expectations that you actually be with somebody who's good and who has the potential that you can walk things through. But because you're expecting perfection from that one, you just assume that they're another one. And that's how you keep living from one person to another instead of sitting down and growing your relationship, um, walking through your flaws and growing. You just expect that when it's gonna be the one, it's gonna be perfect, it's gonna be no flaws, no hurdles, no challenges. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I'd like you to shift your perspective, right? Instead of believing that, oh, there's only one person for me. Rather, be on your part, grow, committed to God, pray. Any man that comes to you, like, of course, ask God's guidance and all, and be open. All right, be open, pray, get understanding for yourself, and like let God lead you in every way. And don't always believe that this is only a particular person that's meant for you. And if a relationship ends that you believe that this is the one, that you feel really convicted that's the one, just know that God is opening a better door for you. And don't feel like yours is over. Don't feel like, oh, you're never going to have any good relationship again. Do not feel like that because, like, God has sons, I promise you. God has good sons out here. And there's so many of them that will be waiting for you. I just want you to know that even with the best one, there'll always be challenges that you have to walk through. That's where the glory comes, right? That's where the joy comes in growing, in overcoming the challenges and moving on. And I want you to not concentrate a lot on finding the one that many other relationships in your life they suffer. Your friendships, your family, they don't see you. All you know is, oh, you want to find the one, you want to find the one that you don't. Concentrate on building good friendships, concentrate on nurturing good friendships, concentrate on growing as a person, right? And you're going to meet your person on the way. Also, let loneliness, let a little period of loneliness not make you assume that somebody is the one. Don't make you think that someone is the one for you just because you feel lonely and just because you. So I just needed to put that one out there. Let a little period of loneliness not make you assume that, oh, Brother Thomas is the one to discernment is key, sis. Discernment is key. Sis, you're not going to miss your destiny just because you missed one man that you thought was the one. God is bigger than that. He has songs. He has so many people. So forget about that unreplied text. Forget about that person you've been chasing over because you thought it was the one. Forget about that broken engagement. Forget about that disappointment. And trust God to align you with His perfect will for you. Trust God to align with you better options that will suit your destiny, you suit your purpose, suit your values. All right. Once again, if you have questions, ask in the chat. If you don't want to ask in the chat, you can send them privately. We'll be having a live next week. I'm going to announce the day. It'll either be on YouTube or on Facebook. And we're going to be having a live. It's going to be me hearing from you. You're going to share your experience. You're going to ask your questions. We'll just have a chat together. You'll not be listening to me. I'll be there to listen to you and other people to hear you share your experience, hear you answer other people's questions. And that's how I'm going to roll. All right. Thank you again for tuning in into Dear Single Christian Girl. I love you, girl. Take care. Bye.